Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. Okay, hopefully the audio is better. I turned the mic up because a few folks are having problems hearing it, and so I apologize if it parts your hair from the sound. We've been going back and forth with the whole, electric versus gas and what's going to happen and everything. And some of you guys are getting discouraged about getting into the business, and I in no way, shape, or form want to discourage you from getting into the business. I think there's still going to be a business, but I'm not sure what it's going to look like 15, 20 years down the road. One of the comments mentioned was a lot of the older mechanics, the really good mechanics, we're losing them. They're getting up in years and passing away, and all that knowledge goes with them. And someone had said that the biggest problem is that the older mechanics aren't willing to teach younger people the profession, that they keep everything close to the vest. Well, that may be true with some of the mechanics out there, but most of the older mechanics are just like me. If they see someone that is genuinely interested in learning, paying attention, and asking for advice or how to do something, they will stop what they're doing, just like I will, and help you out. One of the main reasons I started this channel was because I was hoping that it would draw in some younger people that wanted to learn the trade, or people that had gotten to a point in their life where they wanted to get done with a 9-to-5 and go into business for themselves. And I've always been, if you ask anybody in my area, I've always been more than willing to teach anybody anything that they want. And here's my thing, is that if any of you guys out there, especially you younger guys, have got questions or concerns about something in particular, I will personally take the time to do a complete video on just that issue, or on that teaching, how to do this, how to do that. I haven't done it a lot with the YouTube because I'm finding there are quite a few older mechanics that have YouTube channels as well that are teaching people how to take a carburetor and break it down and rebuild it, and how to take carburetor cleaner and do the orifices and stuff, and how to check the diaphragm. There's ones out there that how to take a coil off and put a coil back on using a business card. How to adjust the overhead valves. That's another one that you want to know. And in general, even if you want to know how to tear an engine apart and bring it back together, and what parts are needed, in diagnosing as you're going, I could do that as well. See, this channel isn't about me. It never has been. It's about you, my viewers, that genuinely want to hear just a old man speak his views, and I've said before that my views and my expertise, or what you want to call it, is advice only. That I'm not going to tell you what to do. That those years have gone by me. I'm at the stage of where I'll tell you what I think if you're willing to listen, and take what you need from what I'm talking about or teaching you, and leave the rest. Pick out what works for you. What worked for me 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago are different. My shop has had to evolve to stay here. That's right. That's what I'm saying. That when we first started, there were shops, quite a few shops. And as we got so far, we had to evolve or get out. So a lot of shops went out, but we evolved. We had to change and streamline is what I call it. And then 10 years ago, same thing. We ran into an issue with the online parts competing with our online parts from China. And we had to evolve again and say, okay, what are our priorities? You know? And some of you guys have mentioned that, I had talked about a friend of mine in PA with this building and so forth of how he should have invested in stocks and bonds. And I got friends that invested in stocks and bonds and lost their, you know what, with the stock market in the past 35 years. I always tell people, if you're going to do stock, it's got to be long term. Do not watch the markets. Do not get the hype. Just put the money there and let it work. Or you can do like I did. See, I'd rather invest in me than invest in someone else that I have no control over. And some of the ways that you can invest in yourself, whether it be, redoing old cars. I know a fellow that does that part of his retirement, he's been working at it for years, and he's got, I think, 11 or 12 completed. Like the SS Chevelles, the GTOs, the Camaros, the Corvettes. He'd work at it at night and weekends, working on getting the bodies and the interior and all that. But now he's got 11 or 12 of those cars. I'm not saying that the car market hasn't dropped out too for the older cars, because I was watching one, I think it was Mecum, and I didn't think they were going for that high a price like they used to, but maybe I'm wrong. I went in the direction of, I have cattle, I have land. I bought land over the last 30 years to where I'm up to probably a little over 400 acres. And I've got 47 mama cows. I got, 35 or 40 babies. And I got a couple bulls. They're all beef. They're all Angus. And we do sell beef, and we put beef in the freezer. That's the side hustle. That's where I took a lot of my profits over the years and put it into that, because I could invest in myself, better than I could to let someone else take my money and say, sorry, it didn't work out. But like when it come to property values and stuff with investing in myself, what I found is back when I was in my 20s, you could buy a 100-acre hobby farm for around 10 grand. That same 100-acre hobby farm, today's market in our area, is worth 200 grand. So, if you invested early on, your investment would pay off. But yes, there are things like you have your yearly taxes and insurances and so forth, but you have that even on your own home. We're lucky in the way that people want grass-fed beef versus the stuff that they're finding in the stores. They want a more healthy animal for their kids. But you have to invest in something that you enjoy doing. We do 5 farms. When I had the video yesterday, it wasn't shaving or nothing. We've been out in this 92-degree heat baling hay, round baling. And that was the other thing I invested in, was equipment for the farm to get the hay and get it put up, wrap bales. But yeah, we do 5 other farms, and then we also have the option of selling the excess hay during the winter to ones that don't have enough hay. And this year, we're probably going to sell a lot of hay because the hay is just not that thick. I don't know if you guys with your yards, it's been so hot this summer that it burned off a lot of the grass, a lot of the yards early on, and then it took a while to get them to grow back. But you can invest in yourself. That's all I'm getting at with that. So there are other things that you can invest in that's investing into yourself if you're not one that likes to do the stock markets. If you got a job and you got a 401k, leave it alone. At the very most, you can borrow against your 401ks for you folks that don't know that, and then pay yourself back with interest so that at least you still have the same amount of money. But change is inevitable. That's the big point of these videos. It's not to discourage people. I don't want young people to think, well, screw this, this ain't for me. This old guy's telling me that in less than 10 years, there won't be a gasoline engine out there. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that's what the politician wants you to think. And that's what they're saying right now, is that by I think it's 2028, they want to outlaw propane, wood stoves, pellet stoves, propane. I mean, it's ridiculous. Someone asked me what I meant by the squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's when you hear something, if you're running a piece of machinery and you hear a squeak, something sounds like it's, wearing or whatever. So you stop and you try to find it. In general, you're not worried about the whole machine. You're focused, tunnel focused on that squeak. Well, that's the way it is with the general population. You have small segments that are hollering the loudest on stuff that they feel is important for them. For some, it's go green. And you got gun control. And you got the teachers, unions and stuff. And I can go on, but each one is squeaking. They're hollering. So that's the ones the politicians tend to listen to. And that's how all of a sudden we get all these issues on your local news about this, and this. The other thing with those segments that are squeaky wheels, you can't discount, are lobbyists. A lot of these groups have got lobbyists that are funneling large amounts of money into government officials' pockets for their something to do with that segment. I don't want to go as far as saying bribery, but it's money is power. So these lobbyists are up there on the hill with your congressmen and senators and so forth, pushing their agenda. And they've got a lot of money behind them, and a lot of money that they're willing to do this and this and this to try to get their point across, or teachers unions to, I don't need to go into that part of it, but yeah, you can't discount the lobbyists either that are sitting up on the hill. And a lot of these senators and congressmen don't just get their salaries. They also, you ever wonder how a president could be a multi-millionaire 2 years out after his time in office? That's how you do it. So what ends up happening is that gets greased, and the rest of the machine doesn't even get a once-over. But that's because they're being quiet. The parts on the baler, let's say, the rest of the parts sound fine. So if they are making a bunch of noise too, then it must be just this area here we need to concentrate on. And that's what my grandfather meant by the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Alright, so on that note, I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know why you guys even want to watch an old guy. But you guys have a great day.